Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cocktails and Rocktails with me, your most notorious groupie, Alice Rouse, author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of This Little Book, These Little Books. You guys know, and those for you who don't know, go down in that description, fiddle about, and find out. I have merchandise down there, some pretty funny shirts. The Steve Jones one that started it all is pretty hilarious. But anyway, we can get book everything down in that description, so go down, you guys. And as you can see, it is another podcast episode, but there's a reason why, because there are going to be pictures, and it's another one of my favorite little subjects, but we'll talk about that in a minute, because my favorite subject is to always say thank you and be thankful for everybody here who's come and gone, who's stayed around, who has supported me, who's lurking behind the shadows. You guys, thank you so much for all the love, all the support, all the great ideas, for helping me build this channel. It truly means the world. And welcome to the newest members who are really out and about and having conversations. You guys all rock. I just can't even say enough. And speaking of rock, of course, this is a rock-related subject on this podcast episode. We are going to be talking about some more of the most expensive memorabilia of rock and roll ever sold. And there's some pretty interesting ones, and ones I thought would have sold for way more. And speaking of way more, we are going to be having a drink today. At least I am. It's from Margaritaville, which I went to the liquor store and I just grabbed some random things. Because here in Salt Lake City, you don't have to buy a 6-pack of something, whether it's like beer or the cocktail, the pre-made cocktail, stuff like that. So I just grabbed this one, Margaritaville. Didn't think anything of it. It's a bottom shelf tequila. And this is a Mango Peach Paradise Punch. Oh, great. Sounds like a fucking college girl little sugary drink to me. My niece would probably like it. But okay, you guys, so we're going to try and swallow this, easier than I did Kip Winger, because we know that was rejected. So all right, everybody, grab your Margaritavilles, kick up your feet, and let's have a little cocktails and rocktails. Cheers, big ears. I'm trying to put the bottle. Okay. Nope. Like I said, too sweet for me. I'm going to still swallow that over Kip Winger, because no, that's like if I was ever captured in like some weird war and had secrets that people were trying to torture me out of, I still don't think I would swallow Kip Winger. I would tell. All they have to do is hold a vial of that up. And I'm a big ass, and nope. Okay, so you guys, let's get it going. And we're going to start with something a little more familiar. And this is Jimi Hendrix's burned guitar. So estimates for the auction price of Jimi Hendrix's legendary guitar from the 1967 Monterey Pop Festival floated from the hundreds of thousands right up to a cool million. You guys can picture him down on his knees doing his little voodoo. That guitar on fire, just going crazy. And it's beautiful, and it's charred, and the pick guard is slightly melted. The buttons are in really good shape, and the pickups are really good. But yeah, the whammy bar is fully there. So we all know this. So this is going to go for a cool million, right? No, it didn't. It actually eventually sold in 2012 for that was in pounds. So it sold in the UK, but it sold for $312,500, which to me is really not, I don't know. Hendrix had planned on smashing the guitar while performing Wild Thing, but the Who's Pete Townsend had already used the move earlier that night. Wanting to pull a unique stunt, Hendrix doused the guitar in lighter fluid and flicked that match. Like I said, I'm surprised a match wasn't flicked on these prices. But then again, Jimi Hendrix guitars are really not as much as they used to be. Because I think a few more came out of the woodwork, and that kind of does bring the price down. So that one's kind of a shocker that it didn't go for more. I would have paid for more. But then again, when I lived in Seattle and ran out of joints, I used to go to Jimi Hendrix's grave, and still the joints people left there. Does that make me a grave robber? Maybe. But anyway, so I guess, I don't know why it wouldn't have gone for more. I think that, especially because it was that iconic, we all know that picture. People are born with the knowledge of that picture. You know what I mean? So surprisingly, that went for less than $500,000. And speaking of less than $500,000, now this really kind of surprised me. But then again, this goes back to, I think there's a lot more of these, and it kind of came out of the woodwork. How many there were, because there was tour after tour after tour where one of these were worn and plenty were sold. So this is Michael Jackson's silver glove. Another piece of memorabilia formerly owned by the late King of Pop is the famous silver glove, which sold for $350,000 at an auction back in 2009. Pre-sale estimates valued the accessory for $50,000, but the highest bidder, Hong Kong businessman Hoffman Ma, paid 7 times that amount, plus commission, which that does not surprise me. Some of the biggest competitors in the art market for today and several years have been Chinese businessmen. I mean, they have really thrown their hat into the ring lately. And they mean business, they are competitive. They will just drive up the price of everything. And auctions are tricky like that. Like it said 50,000, and yeah, this was the 50,000, but was this like when because there's so many silver gloves, it kind of makes me wonder, it doesn't say this was worn during the Pepsi commercial, during any video, during any specific like MTV, because that will always drive the price up more. So 50,000 to me would have sounded okay for a normal stage worn, he's got 5 of these a night glove. 50,000 is right, but this person wanted it. Hoffman Ma wanted it, so he drove up that price, and every person who has a Michael Jackson glove thanks him. But then again, they might not thank him because he's the only one that was willing to pay that amount. If any more come up for auction, I mean, I'll have to look into that to see if any more have come up to auction, because let's see, what year was this sold in? Oh, 2009. And this article was written in December of 2021, so 2 years ago. So, okay, it might have, I'd like to see, I'm going to research that and see, that'll be another episode. Expensive rock star items that sold for a shitload of money and sold for way less. All right, so let's go, and this one kind of surprised me, because you don't think of this as like crazy rock and roll memorabilia. There's the legendary Fighting Brothers and stuff, but they were a fucking awesome band, Oasis. Now, this is Noel Gallagher's smashed up guitar. In May of this year, what year is this? 2009. Okay, so in May of this year, a guitar that's been described as the physical manifestation of the breakup of the British band Oasis sold for $405,000 at an auction in Paris. Played by Noel Gallagher, the instrument was smashed up in 2009 during a row between Noel and his brother Liam, who never played together. Okay, I can see the value of this guitar. So when did this, so May of this year, so this would have been May of 2020, the guitar went up for auction. May of 2021. So they never played on stage together again and claim not to have spoken in a decade, which, yeah, I've seen those two in action. Stubborn as fuck, yeah. So the damaged guitar, which was carefully restored before the sale, was bought by an anonymous European buyer. Maybe it's one of the missing rock stars we talked about. That guy from Manic Street Preachers, what if? But so $405,000, and it has been restored. I kind of would want it in the more damaged aspect, because I think that would be like where the story came in, and that's how you frame it, that it's just damaged because, yeah, this was the guitar that took away a really awesome band. Even though I do like the Flying Birds or whatever the band is called that he does. Because Zach Starkey from The Who, Ringo Starr's son, also played with them. And I think Oasis, I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, so yeah, I think rather than have it restored, I would really more prefer it to be in the damaged condition, because that's part of the story. I would think restoring it might have taken away some of the value, to be honest. Because then you take away the story. How do you know the story? How do you know this is the right one when after it's restored? And speaking of not knowing the right one, now this guitar, it went missing. People did not know where it went, and I'm not even sure where it came from, but experts were shocked when Prince's iconic Blue Angel guitar went up for auction, as it had long been considered lost. Auction house Julian's Auctions didn't know what it was handling when it initially listed a custom-made 1984 Blue Cloud guitar used by Prince. But it wasn't long before it was recognized as the most significant Prince-related memorabilia the world had ever seen. Because we don't see a lot of Prince stuff up for auction in the first place. Kind of surprised this didn't go for more because of that. And we all know this blue guitar. You guys see it right here with the little Prince swish. That trademark that everybody has. And yeah, so I could see that being one of the most iconic ones. But as a result, the hammer came down for $563,000. Yeah. And again, that's kind of for me shockingly low. Because, like I said, you don't see a lot of stuff coming up for Prince for auction. You don't see almost anything. And if you do see anything that has been sold from the Prince estate or by Prince himself in his lifetime, it's usually in the Hard Rock, one of the hotels, or I don't know if the cafes are still around. You know, I think Vegas still is. I'm not sure, but they were sold. Peter Morton and them sold them a long time ago. At least the hotel as well, before the Hard Rock closed. But yeah, so the Prince memorabilia, this doesn't come up for auction to the public. And I'm wondering if the Hard Rock bought it. Or Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something like that. Because, yeah, and I wonder where it came from. I'm going to have to look this up and do an episode, you know, kind of do an update on it. Because I wonder who had it. That's the big question. Okay, so let's go down this little list. A couple of these we've already done. Like the Hey Jude lyrics. Eric Clapton's Stratocaster. Who gives a fuck about Eric Clapton? Keith Richards' Blue Lena car went for more than Eric Clapton's Stratocaster. Ooh, but here's one. And this is another iconic thing. When we see this, everybody knows this. This is probably one of the most iconic Beatles memorabilia pieces in the history of the Beatles. So it says Back to the Beatles with another Ringo-related piece. And I guess this is from Ringo Starr's own memorabilia. So with another Ringo-related piece bringing in the big money. This hand-painted drum skin was advertised as the world's most famous drum skin by the auction house Christie's. And if I didn't see it, it's Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band drum piece. The cover of the album, I don't know how many, like Yellow Submarines, everything Beatles. This is around at some point. Everybody knows this. So it went auction house at Christie's in 2008. As its image can be found on the front of every copy of the band's 1967 album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Bands. This one-of-a-kind skin sold for $1.1 million. Still more than Eric Clapton's guitar. Just saying is all. Anyway, back in 2008, and was a star lot in a pop and rock auction. And I can see this going. I think $1.1 million is pretty fair price for this. I think it will only go up because it is such an iconic piece. It's so recognizable. It came from Ringo Starr himself. You know, it is a one-of-a-kind, and it is in beautiful, pristine condition. He probably had that on display. Okay, now this one, I had to throw this one in because music fan or not, everybody's going to recognize what this is. And this was just a heart-wrenching story. We all watched James Cameron's Titanic, everything. So this instrument comes with a heart-wrenching backstory, as it was the violin used to calm the passengers of the Titanic as the ship sank back in 1912. Its player, Wallace Hartley, died along with 1,517 other passengers, but remarkably, the violin survived. Bidding started at a mere $50. $50. or 50 pounds, excuse me, 65 American dollars for this emblematic slice of the Titanic history. But within 10 minutes of a fierce telephone war reached a momentous conclusion, with the winner agreeing to pay $1.17 million for the violin. Can you imagine? Okay, there are pieces that, like the Ernie Barnes, the iconic painting from Good Times we all grew up with. It's called the Sugar Shack. That was supposed to go for like $350,000, but went for $12 million. And that room at the auction house, everybody just started clapping. People were standing up. So can you imagine what this was like? I mean, this is an iconic piece that we all know, this violin. And how they recovered it, I think it was floating in the water or something. I know there's a backstory to it, but yeah. How would they only put a 50-pound or a $65, like, there's no reserve on it? Who is stupid enough to, I guess they're trying to low bid. $65, yeah, I'm taking that home. Yeah, at Julian's auction house, is that who? It doesn't say the auction house that sold it. So can you imagine that? If that would have gone for $50, oh my God. That would have been like the Banksy original painting that got shredded, was bought for $3 million, sold a year later for $25. Yeah. These are why people invest in art. You have huge gains and sometimes you have serious losses. Okay, let's see this one. All right, we'll do this one. We'll do Elvis's guitar. Sold for I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that yet. The guitars of legends often make up much of the music world's priciest memorabilia. And you cannot get more iconic than the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. I beg to differ. Auctioned off in August 2020, Elvis's 1942 Martin D18 guitar made the record books when it sold for an incredible $1.32 million. So 2020, so just a few years ago. This is pretty recent, making it the most expensive piece of Presley memorabilia. The king bought the instrument back in 1954 in Memphis and used it on such classic hits as That's All Right and Blue Moon of Kentucky. I think Patsy Cline, did she do that first? Or did Elvis? So then I can see why this would go, because this was probably one of his first guitars. He probably bought it for cheap, used guitar. But, okay, early Martin acoustic guitars, especially the D18s, they do go for a lot of money. And I'd say around $300,000-$400,000, maybe $100,000. So that makes sense that it was Elvis's. But was it the most expensive piece ever sold for $1.32 million? That kind of surprises me, but that would be the most expensive piece ever sold. So let's see, what else do we have? Ooh, here's one. Janis Joplin's Porsche. Well, isn't this funky psychedelic Janis Joplin? I could see her jumping out of this in her little, almost famous fur coat and her, drunk. Just being, hoppy boppy, happy Janis Joplin with her big smile. Hey, man, just being cool with everybody. I could see her in this, and this is way badass. So, okay, let's read. A marquee favored by the wealthy, Porsches aren't known for being a budget buy, especially when they've been owned by rock royalty. Janis Joplin hand-painted this car herself. Really? That's even way cooler that she did this. Wow, she was a really good artist. Wow. I'll have to see. We'll have to find some more. Ooh, there's butterflies on the back. Sorry, they have a mirror on the back of it, but that's pretty incredible. And, kind of shocking it didn't go for more, because again, Janis Joplin memorabilia is extremely rare. There's almost nothing of it because it was a short, beautiful life. We've all seen the movie The Rose based on it. So, okay. So she hand-painted this car herself, embellishing it with birds, butterflies, skulls, and mushrooms, making it a true one-off. So it's no surprise that this psychedelic Porsche broke records by selling for $1.76 million in 2015, which was more than any of the car of its make. So this is the most expensive Porsche ever sold at auction at the time. Which I can see that, and I can just see her like hand painting this and just stepping back, and it's really cool. Like, I wouldn't have think, you know, yeah, this is a badass paint job. I could just see her painting that and doing it herself, and wow, that she hand painted it. I wonder if she had specific paints, like for car, if she just went out and got some paint and then sprayed a clear coat over it. But it's really badass, and I can see her tooling around Los Angeles in that. Smoking a joint, Jack Daniels in the sidecar, buckled in. Oh, yeah. All right. Now, here's another one, which I don't think this is really a surprise. I think this one probably went for about what it should be going for. Now, this is Michael Jackson's Red Thriller jacket. Perhaps the most recognizable piece of pop memorabilia there is going, which is true. So, I mean, because we all know this. Everybody knows Thriller. It's still an iconic part of Halloween, of weddings, of high school reunions, in movies. So this is still like an iconic piece. So Michael Jackson's black and red leather jacket thrilled fans when it went up for auction in 2011. The jacket was one of two worn for Jackson's groundbreaking music video Thriller. So it was one of the actual jackets. It wasn't a stage worn for just a video, or not a video, excuse me, for the tour, stuff like that, a replica of it. So this is one of the two from the actual video. And this autographed version was snapped up for $1.8 million. The buyer was a gold trader from Texas, Milton Verrett, who planned on using the jacket to raise money for children's hospitals. Oh, that's cool. So that went to a really good cause. Well done, Milton. I hope a lot went to the children's hospitals, and I hope it did a lot of good. And I'm glad it went for $1.8 million. I wish it would have gone for more, but you know, I think that's about right for this jacket, one of two, and with his autograph on it. So, yeah, and what year it was a couple years after Michael Jackson died, and it's probably gone up in value, I'm guessing, since it is only one of two, and that's it. There's no other. It's like they're not going to be popping up anymore like Babe Ruth signed baseballs, you know, which takes them down, or, you know, Pokemon, the gold cards, whatever they are. Okay, what's this? Should we do this one? Okay, yeah, we'll do this one. Because we don't talk about this guy very much. You don't hear a bunch of stories, stuff like that. I knew one of his bandmates, Bob Weir. But this is Jerry Garcia's Wolf Guitar. So charities often benefit from the sale of big-ticket music memorabilia, just like we talked about with the Michael Jackson jacket. And Jerry Garcia's guitar, Wolf, raised millions of dollars for the American civil rights group Southern Poverty Law Center. The guitar got its name after the Grateful Dead frontman attacked a wolf sticker. Oh, attached. I was like, why would he attack a wolf sticker? Oh, God, I've got to keep coloring my hair so the blonde goes away. But anyway, so he attached a wolf sticker as a joke. And he later got a permanent wolf motif added to the instrument. In 2017, more than 2 decades after Garcia's death, Wolf fetched $1.9 million at an auction, and well done. Good money raised for a good cause. So that's pretty awesome. And it looks like one that he used a long time, you know. It looks worn, it looks pretty comfortable, and I'm glad it went to a good cause. So well done. Oh, here's a... Okay, so I knew this. Okay, we just talked about supposedly the most expensive Elvis Presley item ever sold. So what year was that one? Okay, so this one is a few years later for 2018. So people who bitch about me getting things misspelled in my book, okay, talk to these people, because they got something wrong in their own article. Because that guitar was not the most expensive item sold by Elvis Presley. Hi, Beluga. The kitty wandered in. So this one was, so far as that we know. This is Elvis Presley's Omega watch. Nothing fancy, not a Rolex, you know, not a Patek, not a Jacob and Company. Oh God, if you haven't seen Jacob and Company watches, those are amaze balls. But okay, anyway, so this is his Omega watch. So RCA Records represents some of today's best known artists, but Elvis Presley was arguably the biggest name on its books. The record label gifted the king this Omega watch when he hit the milestone of $75 million record sales. Okay, now I'm going to have to go look up what Omega watches were worth back then, because I just thought Omegas, I know they're decent watches, but I didn't know if they were up there with Rolex or anything. So, okay, now that's something else I'm going to have to research, or we'll just ask producer Michael. He's a watch collector. I watch his channel here on YouTube. So, okay, they presented it to him for $75 million, 75 million record sales, and the watch itself went on to break records in 2018 when it sold for 1.8 million Swiss francs, which is 2 million American dollars, including premiums. So that's not including the premiums, which is the highest price ever paid for an Omega watch. Okay, now Jacob and Companies, they go for about 3 million. They're crazy. 300,000, 3 million, somewhere around there. But so now I'm going to have to look up the Omega watch and see the provenance, not the provenance, but the history behind it. Because, wow, that's pretty crazy. And of course, yeah, that's something owned by Elvis Presley. Now everybody thinks that they're going to be worth like 2 million, 3 million, 4 million for anything that they have of Elvis's, like his glasses, which tons of people have. So, I've even worn some of his glasses that my friend Jesse, the official Elvis in Las Vegas, has. Yes, I took them out of the case. He let me put them on. And I was taking care of business. All right. So that, you know what, I would pay $2 million for that just because it wasn't Elvis. It's, you know, a milestone in his career. It was presented by RCA. So it's really kind of a big deal. It's historic. You can see him wearing it in several pictures. He had it on a lot. And it was a younger Elvis. So, okay, I can see that. All right, so we've done that one. Oh, here's one I haven't talked about before. So we are talking John Lennon's RollsRoyce. This is, you know what, I wonder if Janis Joplin hand-painted this too. It's very regal, very Marie Antoinette. Looks like it's, you know, not the pianos. What are those ones called? Starts with an M and it sounds a lot lighter, a lot more tinkly. So it reminds me of one of those, like with the hood up and everything. So it isn't just John Lennon's instruments that fans are desperate to acquire. In 1985, the musician's RollsRoyce car was auctioned off for $2.3 million, which is equivalent of $5.5 million in today's money. The yellow Phantom V was bought by Canadian business magnate Jim Pattison. And I wish these auctions would tell us more, like who bought them. Like, was it the Hard Rock? Was it a private buyer like this guy was? Or Hoffman Ma? You know, I would like to know where these went. More episodes to do there. Just keep... It's never ending, the art world. Art and music just go hand in hand because art is music and music is art. So there you go. So it was sold to magnate Jim Pattison, who wanted to feature the vehicle at the 1986 World Exposition on Transportation and Communication in Vancouver. Lennon and Yoko had donated the car to the Cooper Hewitt Museum in New York to be used as a fundraising aid with tremendous success. So another one that went to the fundraising, which is a cool thing. $2.3 million in today's money is $5.5 million. Where is it now? We're going to have to do the research. Where are these things now? Don't tell me in the comments. I want to be surprised. And I want other people who don't know to be surprised. Because that might be a good follow-up episode. So, okay, and I think we did this one. John Lennon's Love Me Do guitar. Let's see, this Olympic things. Oh, and we've done David Gilmour's Blackstrat that went for $3.9 million. Kurt Cobain's Teen Spirit. Oh, here's that creepy Bubbles and Michael Jackson thingy. That's just fucking creepy. And then it goes on to Kurt Cobain's MTV Unplugged Guitar, $6 million, which we've already done. So I think we'll stop there because I think we came up with some pretty interesting stuff. And it's really crazy, like Michael Jackson's glove that was only supposed to be $50,000, and maybe it was the only one in the auction, maybe it's the only one that's come up in a while, because he used a lot of gloves over the years. tour after tour after tour after tour, so they are not uncommon. So I think he overpaid for that. I would have paid $100,000 maybe for it. 50 to 100,000 I think would have been spot on. Prince's guitar, I cannot believe it didn't go for the same as one of Kurt Cobain's guitars for $4 to $6 million, because like I said, we don't have a lot of Prince memorabilia up for auction. If there's anything, it's all out in the Hard Rock hotels and cafes and stuff. So, and there's been a few other things up for auction, I think, but I would have thought that Prince's guitar would have gone for way, way more. Let's see what else. And yeah, I think everything else is about spot on. Do I think, what year was Janis Joplin's thingy sold? In 2015? It's probably worth a lot more. We'll see where we can see it. If you guys know where it can be displayed. And I still can't believe the Titanic Violin started off at $65. Like, who the fuck, like, did they just not know? And how did they know? You know, they have to study all the provenance. I know this has all been seen and studied and stuff. And there's only 2 strings on it. Oh, that's kind of sad. You can see it was a loved violin guitar. It was a fancy guitar. But anyway, all right, you guys. Hope you had fun with me on this episode. And thank you to everybody who has been sticking around to the end of the episode, sticking around on the channel, because I know I've been kind of ski-wambas crazy lately, but there's a lot of stuff I don't talk about going on in my life. Still having to deal with some criminal issues of my father, his ex-wife, not my dad. My dad was not a criminal. His ex-wife, going through some criminal charges for things she stole and did to my father. So if you're to the end of the video, for you guys who are dedicated, that's why, you know, because it's been kind of a hectic time with all that going on and still mourning my father. And, you know, not being able to rid our lives of this evil fucking person who's done horrible things to this family and to my dad. So that's why I've been kind of really ski-wambus lately. It's taken a lot out of me. Family here for the holidays, coming and going, you know, it's been really crazy. So thank you guys for really being patient and really understanding everything that. And you will see my ugly mug again here soon. I've got a few episodes that are on deck with me on camera and everything I'm filming. Most of everything, because I'm not going to promise that 100% is going to be a non-podcast me in front of the camera episode. So, yeah, but most of them will be. And I've got a lot of cool subjects coming up, a lot of cool new things. You know, like I said, Kristen and I are going to, maybe Danny might join us, which would be badass. I'm hoping to get Melody on. She was an Elvis groupie. Diana Williams is going to come back. Marie's probably going to come back. She had a loss in her family not long ago as well. You know, so we've got a lot of stuff going on. I want Lulu. Oh my gosh, so many people. You know who you are. I've talked to you already, so. But we are going to have some 80s fucking ladies rocking the world, having their voices out there. Let's just put it that way. Among other people. But those are secrets yet to come, you guys. All right. So thank you, everybody, for getting to the end of the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the enthusiasm, because it's both of my loves together. Art, auction, rock and roll. Can't get better than that. But you can't get better than this Margaritaville and Kip Wingers. You know? If you know, you know. So, okay, you guys. So for all you lurkers, all you new people just haunting the channel, go down, hit the subscribe, become a member, hit the bells, and we will see you next time on Cocktails and Rocktails. Cheers, big ears.